welcome to Truth Unbound. I'm your host, Walter Swaim, and I am glad we're together once again as we look into God's truth and how it applies to the issues and events and things that are happening today in our world. And we look at it from a biblical perspective and what God's truth has to say about it and how we should respond to it in following Jesus. Now, this is going to be a little more freestyle than we usually do, as you can probably tell already, but a little tongue-in-cheek. But in the end, we're going to be coming to a very serious conclusion of this. And it's going to be a short cast. In other words, a podcast that's short, and you're like, yeah, Walt, you've said that before and went on for another 20 minutes. But this is going to be brief, okay? I promise. Pinky promise, okay? So anyway, here we are with something that came up. It happened Sunday. You've probably seen it all over the news media, social media for sure, and you're like, Walt, why are you giving them even more publicity? But again, it's not about publicity. It's focusing in on something that is happening day after day. And well, this particular thing that happened right here in my beloved Houston, where I live and work and have raised my family. Well, let's just look at the video and you'll get it. If you haven't seen it, you're definitely in for a treat. Here we go. Ready?
It's my body,
Whoa.
my choice. It's my body, my choice.
Now they're in Joel Osteen's church here in Houston.
Hell no. My body,
Yeah.
my
Okay.
choice.
She's like telling her friend, hey, come on, get up, do this.
I
All
do
right?
what I say to do because
Don't leave me alone
I
here.
have a choice. I have a choice. I have a choice.
She's lost. Wait, where are we going?
Laws against abortion will not stop them from
Wow.
happening. Wielding
Big
the Bible
crowd.
as a
Big
weapon
crowd.
to
I can
control
understand why they're doing it.
women's free choice.
Day to break the silence and stand up because the Christians are not afraid to bother us at healthcare clinics, at doctor's offices, trying to get essential healthcare. So why the wouldn't we bother you in your own home where the laws are coming from? So that you guys know that we're serious and we are not going to be backing down.
Well, that was interesting. It happened. It's a thing. I want you to look here. And again, I know you're probably saying, Walt, why are you giving them this publicity? But anyway, let's just go through this. I'm going to try to adjust myself here, if you don't mind, so you can get the biggest view of the article. This actually is on Yahoo News, and it came from the Independent. They got an article from this young lady, given her tremendous exposure. Of course, she exposed herself pretty well already. But anyway, let me squeeze this in again. So here is what she has to say. Julianne Derrida and Coco Das, last Sunday, May 29th, Rise Up for Abortion Rights held an emergency national organizing summit. In her introduction, the organization's co-founder, Sansara Taylor, challenged us. This is the young lady who did this protest now is the one that wrote this. You can also catch a clip of her explaining why they did this, basically this whole thing here in a video clip as well. But anyway, it says the organization's co-founder challenged us to move from shock at the news about Roe to action, from how dare the Supreme Court overturn abortion rights to we must dare to rise up in our millions, even though poll after poll shows it's not in the millions. In fact, most Americans oppose most abortion. So anyway, moving on. So she says, 1 week later on June 4th, a group of us jumped in. Yes, we saw that. We took it upon ourselves to dare. Anyway, we stripped down to our underwear. That's why it was blurred. I thought it was a swimsuit, but they said it's underwear, so I blurred it out for decency. My body, my choice, overturn Roe, hell no. Great slogans, right? While one of us filmed the whole thing. Our underpants were smeared with red paint because when abortion is illegal, women die from desperate measures to end their unwanted pregnancies. Rather, they should say to end their unwanted babies or children. The green handprints on our bras and the green bandanas we held honored the green wave, La Marea Verde, which brought millions of women and others into the streets throughout Latin America and has been winning abortion rights in Argentina, Colombia, and Mexico. Yes, and other Latin American nations are hardening their stances as well against abortion. Forgot that. But anyway, for decades, hardline Christian churches have been organizing and indoctrinating people against abortion. Intruding into women's private lives. No, don't think so at all. Harassing us at abortion clinics, shaming us for our bodies and our sexuality. Anyway, now religious zealots sit in a far-right conservative majority on the Supreme Court. They all think that the Supreme Court is just so ultimately conservative. And it's funny because if you talk to conservatives, true conservatives who have looked and studied what the Supreme Court has done over the years, and this most recent group of judges, they'll tell you that they don't consider them all that conservative, to be honest. But moving on, we bear no illusions that a single disruption in a church or even tens of thousands in the streets just once or twice will stop the Supreme Court from overturning abortion rights, as a leaked draft decision revealed they were on track to do, which, by the way, legally Roe versus Wade was based on an extremely poor interpretation of law. But moving on, again, millions and millions of people support abortion rights. It's not millions and millions. It's actually the minority group. In the wake of the leak of Alito's draft decision, the support for abortion has hit its highest levels in decades. This is true even among many who sit silently in the pews. If all of us raised our voices, if all of us found the ways to non-violently disrupt business as usual, if all of us took up the green bandana as they did in Latin America, if all of us put ourselves on the line as they did in that big church building, were kindly escorted outside and then spoke to a massive crowd of 2 people. Yet local news decided to make it a real story, even though outside there were only 2-3 people listening at all. But that's our media. And if all of us put ourselves on the line, knowing that any risk we take, so dangerous, so courageous, is smaller than the nightmare of female enslavement. Okay, where are women enslaved? I've not seen any women being slaves since the middle 1800s. Anyway, and forced motherhood. Okay, now, set aside the less than 1% when it involves rape or incest. There's nothing forced about motherhood. If you chose to do the thing with someone of the opposite sex, then that was your choice. It was a free will choice. You weren't forced into becoming a mother. Becoming a mother is a natural result of sexual love. Anyway, it's almost guaranteed if we stay silent, we would create a situation. We clear to them that if they went forward with ripping away abortion rights in the face of such massive opposition, their court and perhaps even their system would be stripped of legitimacy in the eyes of the world. And there's no neutral in this fight. I agree with her there, but not in the way she says. To the thousands of Osteen's congregants who are pro-choice, I guess she did a survey? How does she know that? She doesn't. And to the millions in this country who support her, join us, act up, yada, yada, yada. All right, so let me slip back into the middle here, and let's bring this to a close. I wrote a few thoughts down. You see, the same Christians you say that bother and harass you and force you into motherhood have also provided real women's health care in greater numbers than there are abortion clinics. The idea that pro-lifers are only about pro-birth is a straw man argument. It's not real. There are 2,700, according to the last numbers taken, which I think these were from a survey from up to 3-4 years ago, that there are more than 2,700 pregnancy centers and only about 700 abortion clinics. And these pregnancy centers actually give real alternatives, life-giving alternatives, whereas abortion clinics just focus on abortion. So why is the follower of Jesus, the one who believes in Christ, who is a follower of him, and who submits and tries to obey in God's truth in every area of life, why are we so pro-life, the believers, Christians? Why do we establish and support pregnancy centers? Why? Why all of this? Well, there are numbers of verses, but Genesis 9:6 is of extreme importance. This was a law set down by God, and it has never changed. It never will. He says in Genesis 9:6, whoever sheds man's blood, by man his blood shall be shed. For in the image of God he made man. He made human beings in the image of God. Every child that is conceived is a person, is a human being and a full person, okay? And they are given this sacred status. You and I, as you and I were when we were conceived, are given that special status from God of being made in his image. You are in my image. You're the apex of my creation. Now, what does not surprise, and so that's the basis of why we're pro-life, okay, and many more biblical truths we don't have time for. We're making this a short cast, remember. But what does not surprise me, but also never ceases to amaze me, is the lengths that pro-abortion folks will go to demand the right to kill another human being and person in the womb. Rage screaming in public like this. Women here in Texas, when the heartbeat law was being passed, when they closed the door of the chamber so that they could do their work, women were scratching the doors, gripping and scratching them with their nails, screaming, illegally protesting in front of judges' homes, and threats and attempts to harm or even kill those who are pro-life, and especially in churches, okay? And judges, and some politicians that are pro-life. It shouldn't, the links they'll go to, and it's not helping to sway the American public, which is already by majority, literally, is against most abortions. At least I know under the last survey I saw recently was from the second trimester on, no abortion. Americans just don't agree with it. And that's millions of people, not millions for it. So you're only harming your cause, okay, by these tactics. Another thought that ran through my mind as we witnessed the tragic and horrendous evil that just happened in Uvalde, Texas, where 18 children plus these teachers were killed by an evil coward. But focusing for the moment on the children, a thought crossed through my mind. Why is it okay to not kill the children outside the womb, but it's okay to kill them in the womb? Now, I know I'm going to get blowback by that, but so be it. Looking at it again from a biblical worldview, from God's point of view, how is it okay to kill them in the womb, but not outside the womb? It makes no sense, and there's no consistency. Killing innocent children in or outside of the womb is the destruction of a human life made in the image of God. And it's against God and his word and his truth. And it's sad and it's tragic. So it's and also this argument, my body, my choice, as she repeats over and over. You hear this endlessly. It was interesting that when it came to jabbing a vax shot into everybody's arms, most people wanted to see that people were even forced to do it, that they must do it. Some were kicked out of the military, and some presently are, for their choice not to have that shot based on religious reasons, the majority of them. So when people said, when it came to the vaccine, said it's my body, my choice, well, no, those who were saying it's my body, my choice for abortion weren't backing those people that were saying when it comes to the vaccine, it's my body, my choice. Where's the consistency in this? Because with a leftist mindset, there is never going to be consistency because it's not based on a solid, never-changing objective truth. And we only get objective truth from God. But when you move that to the side, your post-truth and your thinking, you don't need God, you erase him, then it's just my opinion against yours. But if God is real and he exists, he's the moral law giver, it's the only place you can get a moral law from, then you're in trouble. You can't have it both ways, okay? The body that is in the womb of the mother is really not the mother's body. Many of abortionists think that way, and they say so gladly, proudly, in entire ignorance of secular scientific conclusion that it is a human being, and it is a separate human being. It's dependent on you because that's the way God designed the woman, who can give birth and keep that womb, keep that baby and their body protected and nourished in the womb, and then also outside of the womb afterwards when the body is separated from the mother. But it is still their body. It's not yours. You are given the sacred responsibility and privilege to care for that body of that little baby within your body. Okay? So, well, lastly, with all due respect, let me make this point too. She picked Osteen and his church for this. And with all due respect to them, young lady, you picked the wrong preacher in the wrong place, because Osteen is famously known for not confronting anyone. He doesn't specifically stand on specific doctrinal truths. I'm not saying he's not pro-life by any means. I'm just saying his practice is not to offend anyone in any way, and so they don't bring up anything like this. They don't stand for certain positions. If he is, you can tell he's very visibly uncomfortable, because if I do this, I'll send some people out of my church, probably is what he's thinking. But nevertheless, it's a place to be happy. It's all positive thinking. Throw in some verses to make it right. So what I'm saying is this did not help your cause. You could have chosen other places that are openly and staunchly against this and speak forth about it. Osteen is not one of them by any stretch of the imagination. So, again, you didn't help yourself there. Well, again, we're going to end it. This is Truth Unbound. I'm Walter Swain. Please remember to hit all notifications on YouTube when you do that. Click to follow this podcast, and share it with everyone you can. Follow us, share it, subscribe to us, okay, as well. And when you follow Jesus, remember this: when you follow Jesus, you'll always follow the truth. We'll see you again next time.